Hey everyone, how's it going? My name's Contrast, and this is gonna be for people who don't know the way to the boss towers in SwordBurst 2, and I'm gonna be showing you guys exactly how to get to them. So you guys just want to follow my steps, and let's get into it. So right now we're currently on floor 1. That's what we're gonna do is we're gonna follow this path. And if you guys see these respawn crystals, especially if you're just starting out, I highly advise that you guys grab them whenever you guys get the chance. And then if you want to go back to the main spawn, which I was just at the beginning of the video, you just want to click this little circle above it. So normally these axes are supposed to be swinging and they'll do like a third of your health. I think this lobby might be bugged, that's why they're not swinging. But when you guys are going through like a normal playthrough, I would just be careful of that, because if you're just starting out, losing a third of your health in the middle of a dungeon when you're surrounded by a ton of mobs is going to be pretty fatal. So, and here we are at the boss room, guys. So if you're just starting out, I would advise that you not do it by yourself, because the boss can be actually pretty hard for people without gear. So other than that, yeah, just be careful with it, because with these 3 guards, it's pretty easy to find yourself to be swarmed, and then you can die. And if you die, you're gonna have to go all the way back to that respawn crystal I grabbed in front of the tower. Alright guys, so now that you've beaten the boss, we're here in floor 2, and so now basically, this is probably what I would say the most confusing floor to new players. Even I tend to get a little mixed up in it, but basically, all you're gonna want to do is, if you go down this path, there's gonna be a sign. You guys can see a little bit right there. But you guys are gonna go down this path, and it's gonna tell you to follow the orange lights. And it's gonna be a little bit confusing because, you know, the lights aren't always like scattered in the most linear direction. But that's why I'm gonna show you guys how to actually get there. Okay guys, so once you get to like right around this point, you're gonna see that if your graphics is high enough, you're gonna see this little crystal in the far distance over there. You're basically gonna want to make your way towards that, and then from there you're gonna keep going straight. So we're gonna curve around this lake here, and then we just keep moving forward. Alright guys, so again, I highly advise grabbing this respawn crystal, especially on this floor, because as you guys are gonna see, there's gonna be a lot of mobs in this dungeon, and it can be very easy to get mixed up in here. like as soon as you spawn in, there's three right in front of you. If you have a friend, I would advise that you ask them to help you get through this. But I would not attempt to do this alone as a new player with starting out gear. So just follow my path. I'm not gonna speed this portion up because even I get mixed up in this, and I've been playing this for 7 years. So. Alright guys, so at the staircase, if you want to just take it straight down, you can. Like, you guys can go all the way around the stairs, but me personally, whenever I'm doing this, I like to just drop down in between the gaps here because it kind of speeds up the process. And from here, this section is actually a lot more straightforward than the other one. It's not as easy to get lost in, so. Alright guys, here we are in the boss room. So same thing as the other one. This one is gonna have minions. You're gonna want to grab the respawn crystal. Thankfully this one is right here, and I'm actually gonna help these players clear it because I think they might have been struggling a little bit before. Maybe this guy, his swords aren't exactly the best. So this is the boss. I'm just gonna, well, obviously kill it as normal. Preferably if you have a party. I'm gonna freeze it for him so he can get credit. Alright, this guy's got credit. There we go. And I got a vindicator. Alright, and now we're gonna move on to the next floor. Alright guys, here we are on floor 3. Personally, my favorite floor, both soundtrack and like game design wise. It's also a fairly short floor, so it shouldn't really take that long to get to the boss room. So again, just follow my lead as always. Alright guys, and here we are in the boss room. This one has a lot more mobs than previously. As you guys can see, there's also an auto farmer in my lobby. If you guys are able to, I would try catching them doing it in the act. Sometimes you're able to clip your camera underneath the floor by just, well, using shift lock and then aiming it at a certain angle. But again guys, so this is floor 3, and now we're going to move on to floor 4. Alright guys, here we are on floor 4, and you guys are in luck because they actually reworked this floor and they made it a lot shorter than what it previously was. Previously, it was probably like a 5-minute walk to get to the boss tower, maybe even longer, but now this time it's really short, and I'll show you guys exactly how to get to it because it may be confusing at first. Alright everyone, here we are in the main boss floor. As always, I recommend breaking gold chests if you see them. And also, if you're new, I highly advise stopping to grind levels in this floor for a bit, because this floor actually gives some of the best levels possible. So you're just gonna kill the boss as always, and then after you kill it, you will have access to the new floor. And now let's move on to floor 5. Alright everyone, here we are on floor 5. This is another pretty long floor, and also the dungeon can be a little confusing at times, but if you guys just follow my path, you guys will be fine. So let's get into it. Alright guys, here we are in the boss room. So it's going to be the same story as always. You're just going to want to kill the boss to gain access to the next floor. And this one, there's a lot, as you can see here. It's very easy for a bunch of them to group up on you. That's why, again, I recommend doing this in a group, so that you have the best chance possible of being able to kill them as fast as possible. And then now we're going to move on to floor 7. Floor 6 is going to just be a trading floor. Well, it's going to be like floor 1, Arcadia, where you can just upgrade. Oops, I went the wrong way, guys. Sorry about that. It's going to be like floor 1, Arcadia, where you can upgrade gear. You can buy some stuff as well. Mostly, I would just ignore it right now, because a lot of the drops you can get, and if you have people that are nice enough to give you free stuff, they're going to be better than the stuff you can buy there. So for now, I wouldn't worry about floor 6 until you're later on in the game, where you want to start trading and stuff in order to gain better gear, because a lot of the better gear that you're going to get will actually be as a result of you trading. And here we are on floor 7, and again, you guys are in luck, because they also reworked this floor and it is now a lot shorter. So if you guys just follow my steps, if you want, just let me jump up here real quick. There we go. Alright, so you guys want to be careful of the water here, because as you can see, it actually does do about 2% of your health. So if you have the HP regen, it's okay to cross it, but most players at this stage won't have that much. So it's best to just avoid it for now, or if possible, you can can spam sprint and jump, and it will actually reduce the ticks or avoid ticks entirely, depending on if you have faster movement speed, as you can see here. And here we are in the boss room. So it looks like this guy killed the boss earlier. So now we're just gonna have to wait until there's actually a kill circle here on this boss for some reason. Strange. Alright, well, we're gonna kill this boss real quick, and then I'm gonna show you guys floor 8s, and from there we'll continue with the video. Alright guys, here we are on floor 8, and by the way, I just want to point out how amazing the music is on this one. I absolutely love the piano. That's why I wanted to learn it, and it's why I learned how to play it. So this one is also pretty short now, thankfully. I always hated how long the floors were for the longest time. So again, as always, follow my path and you guys should get to it no problem. Alright guys, here's the boss. This guy actually drops a really useful skill, so later on in the game, or now if you would even like, I would advise farming it because it drops the tree skill, which I still don't have yet. However, it is really good because it increases the stamina regen of anyone that stands in its radius, and it's very useful for big boss fights. So now we're going to move on to floor 9, and yeah. Alright guys, here we are on floor 9. This is going to be a really long one guys, so just stick with me. I might speed this up a little bit more than I did the other sections just because of how long it is. But luckily for you guys, they did remove the hardest part about this floor. So Alright guys, here's the boss room. Normally there tends to be a couple AFKers here because I believe they're either AFKing for drops from the boss or they're AFKing for the spear skill. If you're not using a spear, I would not advise AFKing here or even grinding the boss out because skill, sorry, just isn't that good in my own opinion. And besides, two-handed swords currently have the strongest weapons in the game, so there's no point in using a spear unless that's your only strong weapon available. But just gonna kill the boss real quick and then we'll move on. Alright guys, here we are on floor 10. This is going to be one of the last floors that you have to actually do anything on. After this is just 11, 12, and then you're going to want to focus on Atlantis and probably Atheon / Eternal Garden. Uh, this one's not too long, so just follow my lead and you should get there no problem. Alright guys, here we are inside of the boss room. Uh, Same thing, it's just gonna be, you know, killing the boss. This one also has a very useful skill. It's called Curse Enhancement. That's this one right here, Bind It to My T. Basically, basically what it does is it's gonna drain your health over time, but it's gonna increase the damage you do. However, I would be careful because it's very easy to actually, well, unalive yourself with it. Uh, if you're a lower level and you're fighting a boss that you know you're gonna struggle with, I would advise using Curse Enhancement with shield. And then if there's someone who has Mending Spirit, which is this third one right here, bind to number 3, uh, I would advise doing that so that you don't accidentally die. All right, there we go, guys. And now we're gonna move on to floor 11. So let's get to it. All right, guys, welcome to floor 11. This is by far my least favorite floor. I know I've said that a lot of them are long, but this is definitely, I would say, the longest one out of every single floor. It's just such a pain to walk through, and the boss here is pretty annoying to deal with. But you guys just follow me, then you guys shouldn't really get lost or struggle with finding your way. Alright guys, we're here at the boss. Looks like there's actually a couple people here, which is pretty rare to see. So this boss actually does have quite a bit of health, and also he's very big and he will push you around a lot. So just be careful. If he starts pushing around, it's very easy for you to end up dying, and well, we don't want that. So alright guys, that's floor 11 done. Now we just have floor 12, and then that's going to be the end of the video. Speaking of floor 12, I'm just going to be taking you guys to the main boss that will end up taking you to Atheon. Because there's 4 other mini bosses. If you guys want me to make a video on mini boss locations, I'll do that. Just like drop a comment or something to let me know that you guys want to see it. And yeah, so here we are, floor 12, and it's gonna be the same thing as always as it's been this entire video. You guys are just gonna copy my footsteps, and then I'll take you guys to Unborn, and right behind Unborn will be Atheon. Also, fun little lore drop about floor 12, aka Sector 235. This is the post-apocalyptic version of Hypixia. So, I guess there was a boss, or like an event, where there was a boss, and upon beating the boss, it released a bunch of radiation, and that radiation is what turned this into the nuclear wasteland that it is, and that is how the suspended Unborn, which I'm taking you guys to, came to be. Alright guys, here we are at Suspended Unborn. I'd be careful of this boss because his laser beams can kill a low level player very easily, and even I could die to this if I'm not careful. So best to do this in a group like everything else. I'm just gonna kill it quick for you guys, and then we're gonna move on to the next one. Alright guys, so I'm gonna show you guys how to get to Atheon pretty quickly, even though it's just behind them. After you kill Suspended Unborn, if you even want to, killing Unborn isn't even necessary for this. It's possible to skip them. But you're just gonna go through this, you're gonna go through these doors, and then in order to unlock the permanent teleport to Atheon's realm, you guys are going to need to actually beat them once. Now, if you're under level 350, I believe, the damage requirement is going to be 2.3 million instead of the normal 4.7 million that it is. So, all you're going to do is you're going to kill him, and then that is what's going to give you access to Atlantis and Eternal Garden. I'm going to make a video on these two later because this video is already getting pretty long, but yeah. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this video. If this helped you out, I would appreciate it if you guys would like and subscribe and drop a comment because this video took quite a while. And thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye bye.